She was an intern in your second term? An intern? You! Welcome back, everybody, to Markonomics 101 presents Hoot Loot, the place where you come to be informed, be amused, and never get misled. Now, why I'm sitting in a casino with a roulette wheel is because, let's face it, the market is a game of roulette, and a lot of you are playing Russian roulette, and I want to help stop you from it. This show is called Should We Be All In or All Out of Stocks and Bitcoin? That's the big question of the day. It is April 17th, 2021. We'll be back in just a minute with the charts. Hi, we're going back to the charts now. And I'm showing some charts that I didn't create. They were created by Edward Yardeni, who happens to be one of the best analysts on Wall Street, in my personal humble opinion. These are bull-bear charts, okay? Now, what's so important about today's market that I want to tell you about being all in or all out is that everybody is already all in. It's not even a decision to make. Everyone's all in. There are something like 65% bulls and 15% bears. Now, if you're one of those bulls and you happen to hold a whole bunch of this X, Y, or Z stock or Bitcoin, who are you going to sell to? Which one of you 65% is going to sell to the 15% that's left to go? Not many. You guys are going to want to get out at lower and lower prices all along. And when the market starts telling you, this is market psychology, okay? Market psychology is when everyone's bullish, you should be bearish. When everyone's bearish, you should be bullish. That's the only way to buy low and sell high, is to buy when everyone else is scared to death and sell when everyone is euphoric. Gee, I wonder, euphoric, that word bears a little resemblance to today, don't you think? I mean, everybody I know, Paris Hilton, she's an expert in Bitcoin. Mark Cuban, an expert in Bitcoin. Everyone's an expert in Bitcoin. If you go on Instagram, all you get are solicitations about Bitcoin. And guess what? I know how they do it, and I'm going to tell you all about Bitcoin stuff you didn't know about Bitcoin in a coming up program. Okay, so now this is Edward Yardeni's work. Lots of bulls, not many bears, and I'm telling you right now, that is not a sufficient condition. It is a necessary condition. By itself, too many bulls and not enough bears is not enough to make the market go down. You need other factors to show up, but that is something that if you don't have that, the market's not going anywhere. It's like having too many shorts. If you have too many people that are short selling your stock, your stock's not going down. You know, and that's the thing. Too many people negative means the market ain't going down. Too many people euphoric means the market is going down, and it's going to carry all of them down with it. It's called Mr. Market. Mr. Market I'm going to talk about in succeeding episodes. Dow Jones Industrial, we're starting right here. Now what you see here with the Dow is pretty interesting. You have an ascending wedge within a bigger ascending wedge. You know, this thing is so close to a breaking point. All in or all out? What do you think? This one says all out because a descending wedge is a bearish pattern. Why? Because it is upward sloping. Upward sloping means that to break higher, to break up, means that you have to have a phenomenal, also almost vertical type of rise. And a vertical rise means that you're running out of gas real fast. People are getting desperate. There's no one else to buy. The Nasdaq 100, we're calling this, and we're still going to call it a bear flag. It looks like a bear flag to me. We had a symmetrical triangle. You expect that to break up. It did. We had two of them, as a matter of fact, on the way up. We expected them to break higher. The continuation patterns, continuation meaning they tend to go in the same direction when they break out as what preceded them. So if you have an up move, a symmetrical triangle, you will have probably an up move coming ahead. Okay, so that's what a continuation pattern means. It continues the overall direction of the stock. A reversal pattern, the opposite, is when it reverses, and all of a sudden, that's the place where things start churning and getting ugly and reversing the wrong way. The S&P 500, fantastic. You can't ask for a better pattern than that. One of the reasons, if you look at this, you should be all in. The S&P 500 small cap, though, says you should be all out. So I don't know which one's right. Small caps are now looking really bad. You don't have days in which the S&P 500, which is large caps, you know, big mega cap companies, you don't have days where that's up and the small caps are up on the same time. What you have is one goes up and the other goes up, which means people only have enough money to buy one sector of the market. And that means if they're running out of money, gee, I wonder what's next. Transportation index continues to soar like crazy. After all those airlines are full of people. I mean, have you been on a flight lately? Well, I haven't. I haven't been on one in a long, long time. You know why? I don't want a body cavity search. I don't want to wear one of those stupid masks. That's the reason most people don't want to get on them, and why they're flying high like that is beyond me. I will be the first to admit I don't know everything, and this is one of the things I know the least about. But I'm going to show you some of the airlines in a minute, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about them, and you're going to wonder too how this is going on. All right, CRB index of commodities, inflation, 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 inflation. That is the theme of the day, by the way. If you ignore the fact that there's inflation, 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 you are going to be swept over by it. Jay Powell doesn't think there's any inflation. Last he said, gee, once we see the real inflation right in front of our very faces, we'll do something about it. Well, Jay, I have news for you. Inflation comes with a lag, like a year and a half. So by the time you see it, it's already built in the system. We're going to have a year and a half of it after that, after you start to do something about it. Think about that, Jay. Crude oil. Here's one of the reasons we have inflation. Up 7 times in the last 12 months. When have you ever seen that happen? The CRB has doubled in the last 12 months, okay? Now look at this one. A downward facing flag at the very end. That means it's likely to have a bullish upbreak, and we're likely to see higher oil prices. I've said in the past that shale oil is basically economic at 60. Well, that's $60 of what existed, a couple months ago. Now that the dollar is everywhere to be found, and change nowhere to be found, we are going to have to see crude and shale hit higher prices. I have a feeling, and this is one of the indicators that we're going to see higher prices, is because everything's going to be higher because the dollar is going to be worth less. Unleaded gasoline, nobody drives, so who cares anyway, right? Who cares? Unleaded gasoline is going up too. Copper miners, no one cares about copper. It just goes into every house, in terms of piping, electricity, and all that kind of stuff. And it basically determines how much it's going to cost to build your house. But you don't really care about it, do you? Not if you're Jay Powell and you get free lodging and accommodations, or a congressperson for that matter. I shouldn't pick on Jay. All Congress people get free lodging and accommodations. How lovely, huh? You don't have to think about inflation because it doesn't matter to you. Okay, this is the Invesco Agriculture Fund, and I know that you congressmen don't care about this either because you get free lunches, I'm sure, at the Commissar. But those of us regular people that have to eat food, it's costing a lot more money. My food stamps don't go nearly as far as they used to. As a matter of fact, they don't even get here anymore because of the excellence of the U.S. Postal Service. Can't you send them FedEx, for Christ's sakes? All right. And my stimulus check, too, by the way. Where is my stimulus check? Huh? Thanks a lot. Am I bitter? No, I'm not bitter. Okay, just a little bit. All right, this is the Invesco Base Metals Fund. Now, what is interesting about this is base metals are everywhere. They are tin, they are lead, they are zinc, they are nickel, they are everything but the precious metals and building materials, and they're going up like crazy. Why are they going up like crazy? Well, things like infrastructure, for example. Infrastructure, which is not really going to happen here, but supposedly $2 billion have been allocated to it. But some of the freeways are racist, so we can't have all the infrastructure spending go to infrastructure because freeways are racist. I never knew that before. Thank you, Pete Buttigieg. If it weren't for you, I would not know that there's such a thing as racist freeway. But that's good. That's good knowledge. You always have to incorporate new knowledge in everything you do. All right, gold. This is a long-term picture gold. It's actually weekly, 5 years. Gold might be in a bull flag. It's been in a long bull flag if it is in one. It doesn't look very good. I don't really like the way gold looks. I don't know why it's not going up with the dollar going down. I suspect it has something to do with Bitcoin, but again, I really don't know because I can't, every single investor out there has his own reasons for doing this or that. Gold, though, is behaving incredibly bad, and so are the miners, considering the fact there isn't any. Silver actually behaving a little bit better. Silver's gone down in production, and it's sort of a precious metal. This one, I'm going to guess, breaks up, not down. Palladium, already broken up. If you're one of those EV people, oh gosh, I want to have my electric car so badly. I want to have no carbon footprint. Ugh. Well, I'm sorry, but if you do a little bit of research, you might find that there are cars that have lower carbon footprints than EVs. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Yields on 10-year treasuries continue to go up, and even though they've had a little bit of a breakdown here that you see at the very end, a consolidation and a breakdown here, I'm still going to say 10 years are going to go up. The pattern's probably not drawn right, and that's one of the things I wanted to make sure that you all knew. Patterns are subjective. There's a science part, there's an art part. The art here is that this pattern probably doesn't have the data to be drawn right. The science part is that it has to be more than inflation. 10-year bonds, if they don't yield more than inflation, you got a problem. You're losing money every single year. They're called certificates of confiscation for a reason. And that's why. Inflation is the most deadly, most horrible tax you can ever face, because every year it's persistent. You lose a little less every year, 2%, 3%, 4%, and before you know it, you've lost 90% of the purchasing power of your dollar, and you're actually spending $5 for a Big Mac. Wait a minute, you're spending $5 now for a Big Mac. I spent 50 cents. See? That's how quick it is. 30-year Treasury, same thing. These things, I just hope you have fixed rates, because these things are going to go to a lot higher. No matter what Jay Powell does, and no matter how many of these he's going to buy, these things are going a lot higher. They should yield at least 4% over inflation. If you even take the conservative estimate of 6% for inflation, which is conservative, especially if you rent, that means 10% for these. That's still another quadrupling. All right? So watch out for that. 5-year treasuries, these things are very, very strong. Look at that. They haven't even broken their trend line yet. That's new. Apple. What I wanted to do here was show you the art part. Emphasize the art part of charting. Apple here, I think this is the right chart. This is an upward bear flag. Apple has already had a big move and a bear flag. It's actually consolidating, and bear flags, which are upward sloping, usually break down because they're upward sloping. So this is how I drew Apple last week. As you can see, too many lines. It almost scares me. If I had any hair, it would probably stand straight up on end, but I don't have any, thank God, so it doesn't stand up on end. Ace would probably be barking at me, but he's gone somewhere where I don't know where he is. Anyway, Amazon, same thing as last week. It's in a sideways pattern. This is why I say all in or all out. I don't know. When you look at stuff like this, you just don't know. And that's the beautiful part. You don't have to be all in or all out. You can hold cash. What a novel concept. Hold cash. Take all risk off the table and hold cash. That would be the right thing to do. Facebook, much to my chagrin, believe me, much to my extraordinarily chagrin, has gone up, and it looks like it's in a pretty good pattern. It went down a little bit the other couple days, but right now, still looking at a good pattern. And yes, I'm very chagrined. Qualcomm is a chip maker, 5Gs and all that. It's still not looking good, and there's a shortage of chips. I don't know what's going on here, but Qualcomm is not looking very good. The bank index is, oh, by the way, I normally talk about Tesla. Tesla is, Tesla has gone down the last couple of days. It's canary in the coal mine, and I would still think last Wednesday's chart of Tesla would have been absolutely appropriate for you to look at today. It does not look good. The bank index looks pretty good, consolidating within a rounded top, which we learned last Wednesday, could be as much of a topping pattern as a continuation pattern. What's the difference? The difference is if it breaks up and out, it's a continuation. If it breaks down, it's a reversal. You won't get both at one time, so you'll never be confused about which way the thing is supposed to go. It will tell you. You don't have to tell it. It will tell you. Big oil is looking like it's turning. Again, if you look at crude oil, actually the prices look like they're about to move up. Big oil, the index, that could be a consolidation pattern. It doesn't look good. Honestly, the pattern does not look good. The broker-dealer index, how can you look any better than that, except it has a ascending wedge at the end? But when you have Coinbase, you have SpaceX, you have all these multi-trillion-dollar companies coming out, obviously the brokers are going to make a lot of money out of it. They're going to make their 6%, and that's going to turn into a pretty good payday. Oilfield services, these are guys that drill oil. What you see here is kind of a topping pattern. It tells you that oil may be in a topping pattern. I have this feeling that maybe the stimulus checks have already been spent in the market and at the retailers and showed up in the retailers, and they're gone. They have to be. They're only $14. And no, I'm not resentful for not getting mine. No, I'm not! Okay, if I could just get, I'm going to get calm here about stimulus checks. Oh, okay. Back to the markets. All right. The S&P Bank ETF. These are the regional banks. This would be like Bank of California City or something like that. These are also doing pretty well, with the exception that they're in rounded tops and they've broken their parabolic uptrend. Banks may not be in good shape here. We'll have to see. This is one of those times in the market where you literally don't have an opinion, nor should you. One should really look at this market and say, I need more information. Not enough to give me one way or the other. Don't look at this as I have to be in one way or the other. You don't. You can sit in the sidelines, just watch the game play, and that's what I think you should be doing right now. Well, my favorite joke is American Airlines, and I've made a joke many, many times because they lose $100 billion a month and still want $100 billion a month, and they still have a lot of value. They're worth $21 a share. I should say. They trade at $21 a share, and yet this company is basically bankrupt. Frontier Airlines, by the way, before I forget, Frontier Airlines came out and they went public. I've mentioned it before, but it was a $5 billion valuation for a company that had $1 billion in revenues and lost $250 billion. And who knows how much they really lost and what the revenue really was, because as we know, financials have a tendency to be somewhat works of fiction these days. And I'm not saying that just that Frontier Airlines did it. I'm saying that all companies do it. Okay? All of them do it. Right? I'm sorry. I'm preaching today. So let's keep going. Ford Motor, this old company, this is not your grandmother's Ford company. This is not your Ford Motor Company. This is Elon Musk's Ford Motor Company, because they're all electronic vehicles. There goes Ford. It's in a rounding top, though. I don't know how many cars they're going to sell. They keep complaining about a chip shortage. They can't sell more cars. But who the hell is going to buy cars in this economy? I don't know. We'll see. Fiat Chrysler, also known as Stellantis, who I sometimes call the praying mantis company, it broke out of a rounded top. And this is one of those situations where a rounded top actually is a continuation pattern. So the move before it was up, it consolidated into a rounded top and continued on. And that's something that I have actually learned by looking at all these patterns. I thought it was only a rounded top pattern, could only be a reversal. Well, I was wrong about that, as I am about most things. Well, some things. Well, most things. Well, all things. Never mind. All right. So FedEx is a good company to watch because this one transports so many goods. It's private, and unlike some other services, things don't get lost. Things get tracked. They don't get lost, and you can't use that as an excuse in court, unfortunately. Oh, I lost, my FedEx got lost. No, you can't use that. Sorry. But it's looking pretty good now here. It could break either way. So all in, all out, I don't know. General Motors also, we're going to call it a neutral. All in, all out, who knows? They're making a lot of cars. They're having a chip shortage. Some electronic vehicles. They just entered into a joint partnership with another electric company. I have no idea. All I know is that Elon Musk is going to have a lot of competition very soon, and it's going to be very good competition. And that infinite value that he has right now is going to be under some threat. Competition is the way of the free market. It's not that we always have them free, but when they're free, competition occurs. Target went bullish. We thought it would. It broke out. It looked like it had a little blue consolidation wave there, a bull flag. It broke out. Those stimulus checks have gone out and apparently been spent on Tupperware goods at Target. Some of them also on Bitcoin. And I would like to note one thing. I didn't get mine. So, do I resent it? No, I don't resent it. Oh! Okay, never mind. I'll be calm. Okay, here we go. UPS, also now, we're calling that neutral, just like FedEx. So, the market really is at a place where we don't know to go all in or all out. And, the reason I was in the casino is because right now we're looking at 50-50 odds, except for one thing. And we haven't gotten to that one thing yet. And that's inflation and interest rates. Or we did earlier, I'm sorry. We got to that thing earlier, interest rates and inflation. They've got to go up. And if they go up, those multiples are coming down. And I don't care how good of a company you have, how much money you're making, you're no longer worth 50 times earnings. It's 20 times earnings when bonds are at 8% instead of 2. It's simple as that. Would you rather have a bond at 8 that was risk-free, supposedly, or pretty risk-less of default, or have an uncertain growth and have to pay 30 times for it? Well, you're going to take the bond, or at least maybe you won't, but a lot of people will. Okay. So Visa also is an interesting company to look at. It it's in an ascending triangle. We hate to see those because we know there's a reversal patterns, and ascending triangle. This one is not as tight, so it doesn't have to break right away. The U.S. dollar is really one of the most important things. I saved it for last because I want to talk about Bitcoin in a minute. Things you'll never hear about Bitcoin. I'm going to tell you, not today, but in ensuing shows. We're actually going to have a special show where we tell you what Bitcoin really is. Even I didn't know what it really was, and I just happened to run across some information accidentally which tells me what it really is. In any event, the U.S. dollar counterintuitively is going down. It's actually been going up. It's in a consolidation now. It may go down, but it's pretty hard to go up when dollars are being created for these stimulus checks that I don't seem to be able to ever get. Not that I'm not resentful about it. I mean, it doesn't bug me at all that I never get my stimulus checks. Oh, sorry about that. I didn't really mean that. Okay, so anyway, the U.S. dollar. And now finally, we're going to talk about Bitcoin. This is Bitcoin Weekly. All right, now the reason I show the weekly chart is that it has had bubbles before. And that if you're one of those people that's holding Bitcoin thinking that Bitcoin is your end to riches, be careful because it's gone down. Every other bubble has ended up with an 85% drop and no one holds it all the way down. Trust me. So you might be up 200, 300, 400% for a little while. You're going to have paper profits and you're going to watch this thing go all the way down because you're going to stay hopeful. There are a lot of people that made and lost. More billions were lost on Bitcoin last time around, more this time around. And I'm going to show you finally Bitcoin, what it looks like on a daily basis, an ascending wedge and a descending wedge in the same year. Notice that the one that was descending, it broke up from. That's exactly what we'd expect. The ascending wedge, well, it might not just break up from that. It might break down. Do you know anybody? We were talking earlier about psychology. I don't know a single person that's bearish on Bitcoin. Who's going to buy it when all these people want to sell? Of course, they're never going to sell. But, that's the thing. Do they really know what they own? I don't think they do. And we're going to tell them. You're never going to hear this anywhere but right here, because here is Hoot Loot, where you be informed, be amused, never be misled. We have so many subscribers pouring in. It's just great. We love it. So please like and subscribe. It's right up here. That way you will never miss an exciting show of Hoot Loot. Oh, hey, what's up, Doc? Well, she's okay. I mean, well, not really okay. She was she hitched a ride on a Goodyear blimp and floated into a hotel window and then got sucked up in a vacuum cleaner of a maid. So she's kind of stuck in St. Louis right now at their hospital. I've been meaning to ask you a question, by the way. What was your relationship to her? I mean, after all, she was your patient. Okay, you're still married? What? Dr. Fauci? Dr. Fauci!